in Europe it's still August 26, meaning it's still Wednesday. It's after US cash close, so very late evening. So good evening, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever you are. Piotr here is Light Forex Global YouTube channel summary of the day. Ahead of tomorrow, what looks like might be very busy day. Anyway, before we are going to go through few charts, let's have a risk warning as usual. Guys, please bear in mind trading on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors who can sustain a loss of some or all initial investment, so please do not invest the money you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, don't forget, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Alright guys, what is going on? Well, let's start with what happened at the very beginning of the US session. We got today durable good orders month to month. Much better, 11.2 versus 4.4 expectations. The core durable good orders 2.4, 1.9%, and we start with the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is doing the new high. Nothing's gonna stop us now. If you do remember, there was a song of the Starship band, very early 90s or maybe late 80s, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere over there. Anyway, what Nasdaq is doing, if you remember, we previous week we recognized some moves to the upside based on the same size. It has changed a bit late Thursday and Friday, because that was here. It was the Thursday, then Friday we made the half, and the rest we made pre-market on Monday with huge rejection during the beginning of the cash market, right? A little bit of the consolidation yesterday and the same size to the upside. Well, there are only two events we know are going to happen, which might eventually somehow stop the bull run. Me personally, medium term, I've been hurt by indices. Short term, lately we've seen a very narrow first 5-minute trading range. Then from the intraday perspective was a little bit tougher. Anyway, I've been hurt, and it's you know, I have to say about it. Otherwise, I cannot say only, oh yeah, it was every time is good, right? Because it's not. Anyway, I do recognize two events we know about. First one is tomorrow, the next one is November. That something might happen and we might see deeper pullback, right? Or maybe there is even we don't know, like at the beginning of the year with the COVID, we don't know yet, right? Some kind of the black swan event. But two, which might, make something different than what we've seen, because it's they as usual when it comes to the Nasdaq. It looks a little bit different when it comes to the other indices, and I'm going to try to prepare something maybe post Jackson Hole when it comes to the indices. But anyway, Nasdaq up and up and up and up. That's how I see the things here. Maybe some kind of the correction overnight. The size of the correction, it could be something between we've seen on Monday, right? Or we've seen a little bit shorter yesterday, Tuesday, right? And I'm taking into the consideration only the moves we've seen this week. So in that case, if we are talking about a little bit bigger than here ahead of the end of the session, so we might hit that stops, right? That could be this type of the move, or we might see this one a little bit bigger. In that case, that really makes sense to retest levels related to the cash open we've seen earlier today. So very narrow first 5-minute trading range, then boom, straight to the moon. So the buyers are below 11,800. I would say rather towards 11,780, 750. And well, if you are for you, if the Tokyo session for you, so the pre-market trading when it comes to the US futures, something you wanna to look at, then maybe this type of the pullback could take place. Anyway, the data was very good. Market is awaiting for the Fed Chair Powell to speak tomorrow during the Jackson Hole Symposium. But not only, tomorrow we do have preliminary GDP as well. Well, as I mentioned, durable good orders were good. Market, when it comes to the indices, we've seen a little bit of the rally, but we also seen a little bit of the rally ahead and just after when it comes to the dollar. But then, after stop count of this over under, we discussed it. I adjust this yellow band. This yellow band was a little bit wider, but after this particular lower shadow, I adjust the yellow band to the lows we've seen here, right? So correction higher towards 1840, but still I think when it comes to the upside, 1817, right? To the downside, I still think 117. So I still 119, 117 the range, right? Maybe we are going to get the solution tomorrow, but there is a big but, guys. Tomorrow, if you want to close some business when it comes to the FX spot and settle that still in August, that's tomorrow, T+2. So what we might see tomorrow, we might see huge manipulation, so be very careful. I'm going to remind you guys tomorrow, right? But be very, very careful because we might see the reaction into the Jackson's Hole really next week, Friday or maybe Monday, right? Not necessarily tomorrow. Why? Again, T+2 tomorrow, London fix tomorrow, end of the US session are gonna be quite important from the big guys perspective. They may want to draw the monthly charts already. Anyway, T+2, some kind of the settlement. Again, ahead of the Powell, ahead of the US GDP, well, 1817, right? But the full range is 119, 117 when it comes to the euro dollar. Congratulations to the dollar yen traders. I've been trading different yen crosses, and of course my choice this time was not that great. But anyway, we discussed it, retest of that zone. Right, that could be short setup, and it happened. It happened. Upper shadow reaction, the same what we discussed earlier today when it comes to the daily chart, and then boom, nice move to the downside by 40 pips, right? So from intraday perspective, very nice move to the downside. I'm counting straight from the close and open. I'm not counting from the high, right? So anyway. That was the dollar yen, and again the things looks a little bit strange for those who were trading risk on based on the yen crosses and indices. Those things looks a little bit different. But anyway, we discussed yen overall. We discussed yen a little bit earlier today. Cable. We are still trading the wider range, right? So what we've seen previous week, it was swing high trading, retest of the high. Maybe this time, maybe it's another swing high retest, and we might see a little bit dollar strength during the Tokyo hours. Actually, to be honest with you, I would like to see a little bit of the stop hunt during the Asian hours, something similar we've seen previous week, and then rejection, right? So dollar weakness during the Asian hours, and then when I woke up, a little bit of the dollar strength. I think that from the intraday perspective, right, still a little bit of the upside could be in place, and that could be the selling zone. Still the same like euro. Pound is within the range. 30 to 20 and a little bit wider, right? Because we've seen the stop count previous week. So let's say 30 to 20, 30 to 50 and to the downside 130.29.80 when it comes to the pound. Are we going, when it comes to the dollar, are we going to see really the move tomorrow post Powell? Is it going eventually, if we are going to see the dollar move, is it going to be because of the Powell or because of the end of the month and T+2 on the spot? Well, that's a very interesting question, and to be honest with you, I don't know the answer yet. Anyway, during the Tokyo session we have private capital expenditure when it comes to the Australia, and very early morning ahead of the Frankfurt and London Open we have GDP quarter to quarter out of the Switzerland. Then probably we are going to have market update during the London session or just before the New York Open. Finally, what we got today, it was the crude oil inventories. It was in favor of the oil buyers. The draw was bigger than what market was looking for, minus 4.7 million instead of minus 3.4. So let's have a look what's going on when it comes to the crude. And here, well, strange thing, right? It's so narrow. It's so narrow. Is it calm before the storm when it comes to the oil? Well, your homework here, guys. Check the range we've seen. Check the range we've seen on the 2nd of March 2020 before this big gap down, right? Then drew your supply based on that range, and you might get your answer. A chart is a little bit similar to what we discussed earlier today with the Australian dollar versus yen, right? So it's gonna be very, very interesting. We closed the gap, and since then it's very, very narrow when it comes to the oil. So with the bullish news, still the move to the upside wasn't great. It wasn't full fireworks, right? With that being said, guys, it was the post-US cash close, and ahead of the Tokyo Open update, we can clearly say Tokyo Open right here, right now. I do not expect big fireworks during the Asian hours because tomorrow is a day with the US GDP and the Fed Powell. Huge focus on that. We will see. Don't be trapped. Good luck during the Asian hours if you are going to trade. Be careful. Keep lower exposure, and we will see what's going to happen tomorrow. With that being said, all the best. Stay tuned and see you around. Take care and good night from my side.